The British government officially right now is giving absolutely no guarantees that they will be able to stay in Britain. That's the official line. That said, one of the candidates you mentioned earlier, Andrea Leadsom, she's saying that EU nationals' futures should not be used as a bargaining chips in any future negotiations with Europe. She's suggesting they should be given the right to stay. And there's perhaps some treaties that suggest a few legal protections internationally. You have the Vienna Convention, first of all. What does it say? It says that rights acquired under a treaty should not simply abruptly come to an end because the treaty ends, which would suggest that perhaps those citizens, EU, living in Britain already as a member of the EU, should be able to remain there. The question is whether that treaty only applies to states or individual citizens as well. You also have, and this is a bigger one, the European Convention on Human Rights. What does that say? That basically protects the privacy and the private life of individuals. And that would suggest that if you are a European citizen who's been living for years in Britain, you have kids going to school there, you have your life there, you have a job there, you have security there, it's your home, you shouldn't simply be summarily uprooted because of this referendum. You should, in theory, be protected. It doesn't mean they will be, but these questions all have to be settled in the talks with Europe, and it's still very much up in the air right now.
Okay, so in here on the continent, some Europeans are trying to reassure the Britons that they won't similarly be booted out of the European countries.
Absolutely. There are 1.2 million estimated Britons living among the 27 other EU member countries. What you basically have is a lot of some reassuring noises, especially you had Germany's vice chancellor, he's also the economy minister, a man named Sigmar Gabriel. He said over the weekend that young Britons, especially living in Germany, should be offered dual citizenship. That is normally German law. Under German law, if you apply for German citizenship, you have to relinquish your old citizenship. He's saying young Britons who predominantly voted overwhelmingly to remain, they should have a right to stay. Italy's Matteo Renzi also suggesting that British students in Europe should be allowed to be given sort of dual citizenship or the right to stay on. You have an online petition, change.org, also petitioning basically for British citizens abroad to somehow be able to retain a right to EU citizenship. Here's the most interesting one, though. You have a Romanian newspaper. It's not the government. It's a newspaper called Gandul. They have launched a campaign. And basically what it is we could bring up their website. There it is. Adopt a Brit. It is Romanians for Remainians. Get the wordplay there? And you could see it. It's addressing the good people, the good Brits who voted Remain and share European values, and they deserve to be our relatives. So they're calling on Romanians to adopt a Brit. And they're also appealing to Brits. They're saying you want to apply to be adopted, leave the quarreling and the weather behind, start a brand new life in a loving Romanian family. And this is a serious campaign. Let me show you. There's an identity card that goes with it. This is the actual, we could bring up the other one. So this is the official sort of identity photo, the publicity photo for this campaign, a newspaper campaign. See, Ion Popescu, sort of like John Smith, typical Romanian name. So you become John Smithescu. Now, I don't know. It could work. Maybe I'm thinking of it. Let's see how this would work. If I were to be adopted by a loving Romanian family, we might just get, does it sound good? Does it have a nice ring to it? Douglas Herbertescu.
I think it has something charming about it, Doug. So basically, we got to keep people from being bargaining chips one way or the other.
Absolutely, and it's not going to be resolved until they get into those EU negotiations and they sit around that table and they really start to hammer out the fine points of the Brexit.